Let us see who were the people who contributed to the experimental approach of probability. As you can see on the screen, Blaise Pascal, Pierre de Fermat were two mathematicians who started working on this concept of probability independently. Later, the Italian mathematician J. Cardan also wrote a book which was called as Book on Games of Chance, and it was published in 1663. Some contributions were also done by mathematicians J. Bernoulli, P. Laplace, A. Markov, and A. N. Kolmogorov. So, in this way, the experimental approach of probability started taking shape. Let us perform an activity at home itself. If we were in school, we would have done this as a group activity. But no problem. In our home, each family member can act as one group. Let each group toss a coin 15 times. Then record the observations regarding heads and tails. I have given you one table in the method in which you can record all your observations. But we should take care that the coins of the same denomination should be used in all the groups, so that it can be treated as if only one coin has been tossed by all the groups. Now look at this table. So group 1, how many heads has the group 1 got? 3. And how many times has it got tails? It has got tails 12 times out of the 15 total. So the cumulative number of heads upon the total number of times the coin is tossed has to be written in the fourth column. You will understand this meaning of cumulative when we come to the next group. So in the first group, we have to write the probability for heads as 3 out of 15. So naturally, the probability of getting a tails will be how much? 12 upon 15. Now look at the second group. It has got heads how many times? 7 times. And it has got tails 8 times. Now instead of just writing 7 out of 15, we must write it as 7 plus the 3 times heads that the first group had got upon 15 times that they had tossed the coin, that is the second group, plus the 15 times that the first group had tossed. So we get the answer as 10 out of 30. In the same way, you have to work out for tails also. In the third group, what we will have to do? It has also got 7 and 8 as its outputs. So the 7 heads that the third group has got plus the 10 heads that the second group had got, divided by 15 times that the third group had tossed the coin plus the 30 times the second group that we had considered. So now we get the answer as 17 upon 45. In the same way, you have to work out for all the groups. We have already seen in earlier classes how we had a glimpse of probability when we have performed experiments like tossing of coins, throwing of dice, etc. and observed their outcomes. In the same way, this has to be done. We will now learn to measure the chance of occurrence of a particular outcome in an experiment. So how is the activity going on? First, group 1 must have written down observations and calculated the resulting fractions. Then group 2, that is the second family member, has written down his observations but will calculate the fractions for the combined data of groups 1 and 2 and so on. We can call these fractions as cumulative fractions. We have noted the first 3 rows based on the observations given by one family. If there are 4 members, 5 members, you will have those many rows. Okay, no problem. Now what do you observe from this table? Please pause over here, think over it and try to observe your table and say what you can conclude. You will find that as the total number of tosses of the coin increases from 15 to 30 to 45, so on and so forth, the values of the fractions in the last 2 columns, 4 and 5, come nearer and nearer to 0.5. That is to say that heads and tails, both the events have equal chances of occurrence. The second experiment we will conduct with the help of a die. I'm sure all of you must be having snakes and ladders game at home, isn't it? So you can use that die. So in this activity, we will be throwing a die 20 times and note down the number of times the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 come up. Please record your observations in the form of a table. You can see the sample table that is given on the screen. Once your table is ready, try to find out the values of following fractions. Number of times 1 has turned up upon the total number of times the die is thrown. Now, just now this will be 20 times because the total number of times that we have thrown the dice is 20. Secondly, in the same way, try to find out the fraction of number of times 2 turned up upon total number of times the die is thrown till the end, that is number of times 6 turned up upon total number of times the die is thrown. Now, do the same experiment by throwing the die 40 times. Record the observations and calculate the fractions just as we have done just now. After you finish this, pause the video. After you finish your experiment, after you finish your game, let's say, pause the video and try to observe what you can see from the table. You will see as the number of throws of the die increases, you will observe that the value of each fraction calculated in both of these cases comes closer and closer to 1 upon 6. If you remember, we have done such an example in our discussion of our previous knowledge. Now it is verified with the help of this experiment. Now we can modify our previous experiment. Like if our experiment was to throw the die for getting just an even number, then the event would consist of only 3 outcomes, that is 2, 4 and 6. So an event for an experiment is the collection of some outcomes of the experiment. Now with all this background, we now see what probability actually is. Based on what we directly observe as the outcomes of our trials, we find the experimental or empirical probability. So if n is the total number of trials, we can say that the empirical probability P of E of an event E happening can be given as P of E equal to number of trials in which the event happened divided by the total number of trials. In this chapter, we shall be finding the empirical probability, though we will write just probability for convenience.